How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. M2 money supply has flipped, and Bitcoin looks like it may be flipping here as well. I want to go through some of the big things that are happening all the way from just a day or two ago to this week to what's happening over the next couple weeks and months. And there are a lot of things that you should be paying attention to because it can change the trajectory for Bitcoin and crypto. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. Also, if you want to check out the link underneath the video to BTCC, that's a great exchange to trade on. You can trade all different kinds of altcoins from you can trade Bitcoin, but you can also trade hundreds and hundreds of altcoins on this thing. Great platform, low fees. It's been around for a long time. It has a lot of liquidity. And if you want to trade some big caps, if you want to be able to cross collateralize, so if you want to trade like Bitcoin with, let's say, Chainlink as collateral, or with Caspa as collateral, or something like that, you can check out the link to Margex underneath the video. Now, let's actually start right here. We'll actually start with a couple pretty cool charts, and then we'll move over to some of the big events. So the 200-week moving average for Bitcoin, which a lot of people think of as kind of like the floor price, like if it's below this, you smash buy, because it's rarely ever below it. It moved up to $40,000. Keep in mind, back in 2015, 2016, we tapped it just slightly and then continued to race up for, 4 years before we ever touched it again. Then 2019, touched it again. 2020, we went just slightly below it, I think for just a few days back during the COVID era. Then we went above it. And this cycle, we actually were below it and around it for maybe 6 months or so. Keep in mind, we did fall below it. I think we're all the way down to 25% below. And now we're well above it. Now, this is pretty cool because, again, if you think worst case scenario, what could happen? I don't know, some black swan. Of course, Bitcoin could always go to zero in theory, right? There are always going to be some people that will buy it. So maybe not exactly zero, but there is a non-zero chance of that, right? But short of that, people are really looking at buying and increasing their positions on Bitcoin. There are a lot of people that just always want to add more. So when they see something like 40,000, they're going to smash buy. And in my opinion, this is going to move closer to 50,000, this bull run, maybe even higher. And then, then you're looking at a $55,000 kind of bottom price, maybe 48,000. That's what I've said before, because we do have a lot of support and resistance around 48,000. We've seen that several times from last cycle, getting rejected right at 48,000 to this cycle, getting rejected again there, and then using this as support. So I would not be surprised to see that continue to edge up, but that is extremely bullish. We also see altcoins breaking out and then actually retesting support and continuing to move up. We've kind of seen that on Bitcoin too. Break out, a little retest, and then hopefully this is where we continue to move up. Very bullish from a technical perspective. This is also typically the best quarter for Bitcoin. I know here it says 177% in Q2, but keep in mind that is with a 2,000% return back in 2011. So if you take that out, Q4 is usually the most bullish time for Bitcoin. And M2 continues to increase. It has flipped from negative back in 2022 and 2023 just kind of being sideways for the majority of it to now increasing. We have multiple countries reducing their interest rates. We have that kind of happening in the US where we are seeing rates come down, but quantitative easing really hasn't started significantly yet. Keep in mind, just at the last Fed meeting, the Fed said that they're still quantitative tightening. They're still running down the Fed balance sheet. Keep in mind, they've gone from about 9.9 trillion down to 7.2 trillion. So they've reduced by about 17% over the last year or two. And the Fed is still running off about 50 billion a month in maturing treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. This is down from 95 billion when quantitative easing started. But that means they're not really pumping a ton of money back into the system yet. They're not increasing money supply too much yet, but that is coming. Keep that in mind. There are other countries that are obviously quantitative easing. That's why we're seeing the M2 money supply continue to move up. And with rates coming down, we're moving into a time that's just going to be much more bullish for Bitcoin and for risk on assets. Keep in mind too, we have a couple other big events happening soon. First of all, we've seen the breakout for Bitcoin and for altcoins. A lot of people would like to see a little bit more of a move with Bitcoin going over 70, maybe even breaking 2 new all-time highs. A lot of people think that is really when we're looking more bullish. But we also have some fundamental things that are changing. For example, just this week, the SEC approved option trading. So the SEC approved it. In the title I say SEC just approved the M2 money supply to be flipped. That's not exactly true, but the SEC just approved options trading. And we have M2 money supply being flipped by countries. Maybe I'll do some variation of that. But we do see just a big change from the SEC. They do seem to be flipping on Bitcoin policy and in crypto in general too. Maybe something to do with elections coming up. It's hard to know. But we do have Tesla earnings this week too, which will be really interesting. Keep in mind that there has been movement with their Bitcoin. So we're going to see, did they sell any? Did they buy some? What are they doing there? Are they going to start accepting Bitcoin as payment? Because there was some indications from Arkham Intelligence that they are maybe accepting Bitcoin as payment again, or they will be soon. We also have the elections in about 2 weeks and 2 days, the U.S. elections. So depending on how that goes, obviously that could pump the market, could also freak the market out for a little bit. But I think just in general, more clarity on what's going to happen moving forward, even if it's not the best thing in the world for crypto, right? I'll just leave it at that. Even with that, the market's like some kind of certainty. So I think that will be really bullish as well. We also have the Fed rate decision 2 days after the election. So people will be processing that on that Wednesday, Tuesday night and Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're going to have the Fed rate decision, which is going to be bullish as well because they're most likely going to cut by another 25 basis points, maybe give some more clarity on quantitative easing versus tightening and just how aggressively they're going to reduce rates in the future and how they're feeling about the economy. And then we have the FASB accounting rules changing in Q1. So a month and a half later, month and a half to 2 months later, we're going to have the FASB accounting rules change, which is going to be really bullish for people that want to get a hold of Bitcoin and they want to put it on their balance sheet, but they don't want to have the value of the balance sheet go down because of intangible accounting right now. We've talked about that a lot in the past, so I'm not going to bring it up now. Also, around that same time, maybe we'll get some more clarification on banks holding Bitcoin, which kind of goes with the FASB accounting rules. I think that'll be just extremely bullish for larger companies to buy Bitcoin. And then quantitative easing, M2 flipping, right? All that is going to be just in full gear over the next quarter, 2 quarters. So I'd be on the lookout for that as well. Quantitative easing coming from the US and just more rate cuts. That's going to be extremely bullish for the crypto markets, for Bitcoin. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. I really do appreciate you watching. Check out the links underneath the video to BTCC and to Margex. You can try both of them. I would suggest having an account on both platforms so that way you can get access to more cryptos. You can get access to be able to use different kinds of collateral. You can also use multiple platforms and see what you like the most. So definitely check that out. Make the deposit. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.